In Liu Cixin's The Wandering Earth, humanity's view of love is portrayed as extremely marginalized. In the novel, the narrator's father suddenly announces, when the narrator is in middle school, that he has fallen in love with the narrator's elementary school teacher, Li Xing, and is leaving the family to be with her. The narrator's mother shows no anger or emotional turmoil whatsoever. She simply agrees calmly. 2 months later, when the father returns, the mother has no particular reaction and even forgets who Li Xing was. As the novel states, in this era, the threat of death and the desire for survival overwhelmed everything else. For things like love, they merely cast a sidelong glance. Against the backdrop of the Wandering Earth era, survival became humanity's paramount priority, and love, faced with such immense pressure for survival, became utterly insignificant, merely an optional condiment, like a glass of water for someone playing Russian roulette. Just a few days ago, my second child was born. While caring for this little one at night, I realized how all parents, mothers and fathers alike, suffer through sleepless nights. In the future, will babies be cared for by robot nannies, as depicted in The Wandering Earth? Yet this also led me to ponder the meaning of human existence, which is essentially the continuation of genes. One could also understand it this way. The fundamental driving force behind the survival of all living things in nature is to reproduce offspring. First, an individual must survive through labor and work to sustain themselves. This is the survival instinct. Then, one strives to choose a mate and reproduce, like entrepreneurs and social elites. However, everyone has desires and physiological needs. At a certain stage of physical development, love emerges, or one is influenced by those around them to produce the result of offspring. Even with contraceptive measures, they pretend to reproduce. Thinking this way, humanity has never broken free from the Creator's shackles. At least, modern women have not been liberated from this framework. For men, reproducing offspring requires only planting a seed. 10 months later, they sign for the package and receive a cute little life. Women must bear the burden of 10 months of pregnancy, the immense pain of childbirth, and the risk to their lives. So let us imagine the future of human reproduction. Suppose we have reached the technological stage of civilization depicted in The Wandering Earth, but without the existential threat of a stellar explosion. Neither men nor women would use human wombs to gestate offspring. Instead, when humans wish to reproduce, they would provide their own reproductive cells to a reproductive institution, or genetically edit their own child. Institution would perform artificial insemination and then use an artificial womb to cultivate the child over several months before delivering it to you. Neither men nor women would have to endure the inconvenience, pain, and risks of the reproductive process. When the new life arrives home, robot caregivers would assist with or fully handle feeding. Even if the child's biological parents, the couple who provided the reproductive cells, break up and neither wants the child, the human infant would be raised to adulthood by the institution, and the parents would face no moral condemnation or legal action. But this creates an ethical vacuum of abandonment. If parents can abandon without liability after breaking up, this means the child becomes a returnable product, and their subjectivity is erased. An institutional care system, an orphanage too. Zero might mass produce individual lacking a sense of belonging. What impact could this have on society? A more fundamental question: is the endpoint of this technological liberation humanity's escape from its own biology? Pain, risk, inconvenience, these negative experiences are precisely the source of life and death perspectives, the spirit of sacrifice, and intimate relationships in many cultures. When reproduction becomes as clean and controllable as ordering a product, are we also losing some of the rough texture of human nature? If technology can strip away all the burdens of human reproduction, will we become a freer species or more lonely products?